All right. A few minutes earlier than I thought I was going to be. Actually moved the start time back 15 minutes and then got here on time to start it anyways. So, yay. So I got to send out tweets. I had it pre-scheduled and now I am actually on time. So, oopsie daisy. Just fix that. Schedule this to go. Be nice if YouTube had a button where in their thing you could just press the change it over from scheduled to go now. Instead, I have to delete it and then repost it. So stupid. Oh, stupid. Hey, Cal. Hey, Scott. How are we doing? Welcome, everyone. Do I have this open yet? Hello, Darren. Welcome. How's everyone doing? It has been a couple of seconds since my last stream. It has been even longer since my last stream that wasn't one of those Arrowverse elimination streams. When was my last actual stream? Well, I guess technically I streamed the Lanterns reaction for Green Lantern trailer. That doesn't really count, though. That was only 11 minutes long. I did a GeoGuessr stream back in December. I don't even remember doing that. Yeah, I guess technically I did one in December for GeoGuessr, or as the title I just said, I just noticed says Go Guesser. Me no spell good. Before that, I did one on Halloween. Before that, I did one October 11th. So October 11th was the last, like, what I'd call full-on stream that I did. That was to talk about Peacemaker Season 2 back then. That's how long it's been since I've done a stream to just talk about things. How am I doing? Mostly okay. It's getting a little warm here. Later this upcoming week, it's supposed to get up to 24, which is uncomfortably warm for early May. We've had a couple of days already that just cracked the 20 mark, which is also warm for this time of year. Yeah, so it's supposed to be a warm year, so I'm not looking forward to it. Fun fact, starting tomorrow in my very room, right about the place I'm staring at right now, like behind where the camera would be, crews are coming in to tear down part of my wall to put in a air conditioner / heater system that they're doing in the entire building. They've been working on my floor for about the last month. They get to my room tomorrow. So I actually have to make room. I have the desk I'm sitting at right now and my fridge that's right beside me. I have to move those for tomorrow. Everything's got to be moved out of the way for them to do this work. And here's the funner fact about it. Even though it's going to be done this week, it's not going to work for like 3 or 4 more months because I got to do everyone's units first, then connect them all. I'm just like, you got us all hyped up, especially this week because it started to get warm. Like, great, air conditioning starting this week. Won't actually get to use it. So, yeah, a little annoying. How are you doing, though? Let me get to the rest of chat here. What are you thinking of Daredevil Born Again this season? Very good, very, very good. I don't think there's really been a hard miss on anything that I can think of. I mean, there's probably always little nitpick things that you'd be like, I wish they'd done this, or they could have went this way with it. But I don't think there's been a big miss. I don't think there's been anything they've done that I'm just like, oh yeah, no, they really should have done this instead. I'm liking, I think, all of the storylines that are going on. Um, I'm a little curious where the BB Daniel Buck story is going. I just noticed. Oh no, Daniel starts with a D. You can say they all start with B, but they don't. um, yeah, I'm a little curious to see where that's going to end up. I don't know. Does Daniel die? Does BB die? Do they both die? Because one of them probably doesn't make it out of the season. What else we got here? You have finished watching Game of Thrones. Great show overall. Yeah, I think that's an accurate assessment. I think if you take the entirety of Game of Thrones, great show. If all you do is you break it down season by season and all that stuff, and you consider the last season really the end of the thing, I can see how people nitpick it and, give it some criticisms because they're fair. But if you're looking at the expanse of the entire run of the show, yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree there, Cal. For me, I think last season was pretty good. I think everybody and their dog that watched it noticed there was some inconsistencies due to them trying to uh, build off of the old Netflix model and then implement their own idea. So I think last season was kind of a mishmash getting things sorted. It was still a very good season, but this season is like here, and last season was like here. There's a gap. Yeah, yeah. Did I watch The Last of Us? I have not. I mean, technically, I have watched parts of Last of Us in front of me. So I've seen some of Last of Us. I've actually been to a couple of sets already this season for Last of Us Season 3, and we get to photos of those in a little bit. I have actually been to a lot of film sets in the last little while. I was on quite a run there for maybe 3 or 4 weeks. It had been dead for a while. We hadn't really had anything here for quite a while that was worth going out for. And then just in the last month, I've hit The Last of Us 2 or 3 times. I've hit, there's this TV show called Elle, which is a Legally Blonde prequel. I went to that for one set. There's a movie here called Time Out that's filming right now with Adam Sandler, Willem Dafoe, a couple other people like James Corden is in it, and one of the guys from the Beastie Boys. And that's been filming here for about a month or so now, and I've been to several of those sets. So yeah, I've been busy lately with sets. Not prior to the last month, but for the last month or so, you've been very busy. What all films this year are you planning to see in theaters? I don't know. I haven't even thought a second about what's coming out. I'm sure once the summer comes around, they'll be like, oh, movie A is coming out. And I'll be like, oh, I remember movie A was supposed to be coming out. And then maybe I go see it. But I don't think that far ahead. I mean, you ask me this question all the time. I really don't think about it until it's like right in front of my face. When they start promoting, hey, this film's coming out in 3 weeks, that's kind of when I'll start to think about whether I go to see something or not, right? I'll say this. That Supergirl first trailer did not sell me on the movie. I had zero interest in seeing it based off of that trailer. The more recent one they did, I feel the exact opposite. I'm kind of interested now. I'll probably go see it just based off of that second trailer. I don't know what else is coming out this summer. Feel free to name some names, and I'll tell you whether I think I'll go see them or not. Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer. No, I did not, and I've seen it in my recommended from people who did reactions to it, and I just keep forgetting to look at it. I don't know. It's one of those things where it happened at a time where I think I was busier than usual on that day, and it kind of just slipped through the cracks. And then by the time I had more free time, there was other things more immediate in front of my face. You know, um, I think it's one of those things where I'll probably eventually see it, but it's not something I'm like, oh, I need to go see that right now, this very second, because I know it's a few months or whatever longer away, right? I don't even know when it's coming out, but I know it's not today. um, do you recommend The Boys? Yes. Now that said, this show is very dependent on your personality. If you are someone that gets offended easily, or you find grotesque subject matter off-putting, you might not enjoy the show. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of inappropriate language, inappropriate scenes. Um, they poke fun at a lot of different types of things: superheroes, religions, politicians. There's a lot of subtle jabs in the show that some people just don't like. Um, but if you are okay with those type of things, it is one of the best shows that has done that type of content ever made. You're going to see the special presentation about the Punisher because, man, John Bernthal still got it as Frank Castle. Absolutely. I am aware that comes out next month, I think. I think it's like Daredevil ends and like the next week it's out, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 101%. That is something I am very interested in. I'm a little disappointed that it's not a whole season. A little disappointed that it's not something that's going to last a while. But it's better than nothing, I guess. Yeah. Do I think Daredevil will appear in Spider-Man Brand New Day? I don't know. I guess I haven't watched any of the Spider-Man content leading up to it, so I don't know what's supposed to happen. I don't know. um, it's weird because I watch a lot of reaction channels, and a lot of them have been talking about Daredevil season 2, and they're kind of pointing out like, how is all this chaos going on? No sign of Spider-Man, right? Now we understand, and so even do most of the people that do reactions, they understand it too. But we understand is because of the legal details of using Spider-Man, right? They can't actually use him on the shows because Sony won't allow it. We understand that. But it's funny that they're in the same universe as Daredevil, as Punisher, as all these other people, and yet we never see him in any of these battles. Mm. I am weird that we haven't seen like Kate Bishop in it. She's a New Yorker. Where has she been during all of this? I mean, she definitely has a disliking for Wilson Fisk. Where is she? um, so yeah, it's kind of funny the people that will pop up and don't pop up because of whatever either legal reasons with like in Spider-Man's case, or maybe contractual reasons. Maybe Kate or Haley Steinfeld is doing another project at the time they're filming. Like it's always kind of tough when you're filming these type of things to check off all the boxes. Literally stealing a line from The Boys, by the way. Like check off all the boxes of things that need to be addressed because you probably aren't going to be able to get to all of them because of things like the Sony deal, other actors having contracts with other projects that they can't get out of. It just is what it is. Kind of sucks. I mean, it hurts the overall project, but it can't be avoided. I think even with all the things that they're not allowed to do, they're still doing a great job. Give me 2 seconds to bring up another bottle. All right. Punisher is in Brand New Day. Yeah, I heard that somewhere. I think one of the reactors I follow said it. That's so. I mean, if he's in it, why wouldn't Daredevil, right? I mean, it just makes so much sense. But again, what legal technicalities are there? Would the people that have the rights to Daredevil be mad that, hey, we can't use Spider-Man, so why would we let you use Daredevil? You know, the Bishop will be in Avengers Doomsday prep read. Okay. Ignore the prep read part. Too late. I already have read it. It is now part of history. They're saying saving Kate Bishop for the Doctor Doom story. You can have people be in more than one story, you know. So annoying. Like, no offense, but like if this big problem was happening in New York, Spider-Man's going to be there. Kate Bishop is going to be there. You need to, if you're going to have all these characters be in one property, like in Avengers or in Spider-Man Brand New Day, you have to have them in the other properties. You have to be able to allow that to happen. There has to be a reasonable transfer of characters. You can't have it go just one way. You just can't. And that's a little annoying. I mean, a lot annoying, but I'll say a little annoying. You know, it's stupid. It's just plain stupid is what it is. Um, I don't know how you I don't know how you explain that to somebody that doesn't understand the legal behind the scenes stuff that happens. And how do you explain that to, you know, a 12-year-old kid or a 9-year-old kid watching it? It's like, why isn't Spider-Man here? You know, or when they're watching the Spider-Man movie, being like, wow, they got Daredevil, but Daredevil couldn't get like. There's a lot of conversations that you can't just explain, right? Now, you know, those of us that are on streams like this on the regular, we understand because we have lived through learning the behind the scenes legality of, well, Sony owns the rights to this character and they're not going to let him be on this show, but this show has this character, but they'll let that character be on it. Like, it's stupid. It's so stupid. It's stupid, stupid. Um, yeah, I agree too, Cal. You like Hawkeye or Daredevil Born Again better overall? Daredevil Born Again. I like Hawkeye. It's a really good show. But, I mean, Daredevil Born Again's on another level. And it is. Um, do I like Jessica Jones and Born Again? So it's no secret that I disliked Jessica Jones, the show, a lot. And I also didn't even like her character. Um, I felt every character on that show, with the exception of the season 1 villain, was kind of shitty. Um, I don't hate her in this. I'm also not like, her scene didn't give me enough to be like, oh wow, I want more, or oh wow, she's annoying me. She's just in that bubble zone of, that's fine, you know, just right there. Yeah, so I think that'd probably be my answer to that. All right, it was fine. If she ends up, you know, doing 1 or 2 more episodes and her screen time, you know, bumps up to 5 to 8 to 10 minutes an episode, it could get a little annoying to me just based off of how the character used to be in the past. But that was also Jessica Jones' writing team instead of Daredevil's writing team. Maybe they are better and more competent writers, you know? Because the Jessica Jones team was awful. Every character on there, with the exception of David Tennant's character, was awful. You cheered against every character on that show. Sony should give up the rights to Spider-Man. They absolutely should. How is that still a thing to this day? All right. So, talking about Daredevil, I'm really curious what the end of this season will look like, because we know there's at least one more season. We know there's one more season coming up. We know there's stuff that still has to happen. They might bring in some of the characters we've been talking about, like Kate, next season. But we know the show doesn't end with this season. And because of that, to me, that means Wilson Fisk gets out of this season alive. I mean, we know Punisher gets out of the season alive because he got a special right after. But everybody else, with the exception of Daredevil, there's a question mark on. And that goes straight to the top with, on Fisk's side, you got Buck, Daniel. What's that lady that advises Daniel? I want to say her name's. I actually don't remember her name. But all of them are potential chopping block victims. You got Matthew Lillard's character, Mr. Charles. Then, on Daredevil's side, obviously, why am I blanking on his girlfriend's name? Oh my God. She's been in the show since day one. Karen Page. You've got her. Speaking of the bad guy side, you got the head of the AVTF. That guy's got to go. That guy's got to die this season. I feel that's an almost guarantee that guy dies this season. You got Karen on our side. You've got his lawyer friend. You've got. I don't think White Tiger 2 is on the chopping block. I do not see a world where they would kill her off. What else am I missing on that side? There's at least one or two others. Cherry, I think we're just not going to see Cherry again for a while. I think he's just out of the scene, but he's not going to die. But yeah, everybody else I've named, I think all of them are potential targets. Karen, the lawyer girl. Maybe one or two others I'm just forgetting right now. I think Swordsman is probably okay, because when he said he's going to take a step back and leave, I think that is legitimately probably the end of his story, which sucks. I hope maybe he's back in season 3. Maybe he sees how bad the problems got and he decides to come back. Well, I'm just saying, it wouldn't be the worst thing ever. I think there has to be. I mean, this side has already lost Vanessa. Daredevil side lost Foggy in the start. But we also have Poindexter. He's also someone that could go. I think there's a realistic possibility he dies this season. So both sides have lost like someone big over the course of the show, over the course of the season and 2/3 of the show we've watched. I think both sides probably lose one more character each of note. Not like, oh no, we lost the maid. Like it's going to be somebody, that is got some prominence to the story. We also have the governor. There's the governor could end up being a victim because she is no fan of Wilson without Vanessa, and there's no Vanessa now. There's a few people on the table. I just wonder, does Wilson Fisk get out of this season still as mayor? Do you think Wilson Fisk is still mayor at the end of this season? That's, I think, a more realistic question that could happen. They're not going to kill him off, but does he get out of the season as mayor? If I'm a betting man, I'm saying no. I think he gets caught up in something that ends his mayor duties, and yeah, I don't know. I just can't see a world where they keep him as mayor through the season, especially after the info got out on the big screen on the mayor's building about the people that were held captive. I think that's a turning point that will be something. They need to do a new villain for season 3. I disagree. You are probably not getting a season 4. I will say right now, I'd be reasonably surprised if we get a season 4. Just the way streaming services work, I'd be surprised if you get a season 4. Which means season 3 should be the final season, which means he's had the same villain from day one. It would be weird to pivot to someone else in the final season. I don't know. I just don't see that happening. If they do, it's someone they need to start introducing now. Like they already need to have a reason for the fans to be excited about this character in season 3. And they haven't introduced someone like that yet. I mean, Mr. Charles could work for somebody higher up that could be that villain, but I don't feel that threat that I do from Wilson Fisk, I mean, Wilson Fisk even kind of like plays him a bit. So I don't know. I like that we got to see some flashbacks with Foggy and Wesley and early day Buck with a mullet, which was kind of funny. He has definitely stepped up his game since then. I'm curious if that guy that Foggy helped, that he knew from his neighborhood, I wonder if that guy comes back at some point in some way. Like, it's just kind of an odd thing to leave him out there and about. Do we find out some point that he is, helping the resistance in some way? Or do we find out he got offed by Buck at some point and Foggy can't because he's dead. Matt learns about it. I don't know. I just feel like you don't end that story the way you did and not have it come back around at some point. What would you think of Elektra coming back? No, thank you. No, thank you. Did not enjoy her character. No. The answer is no. Final answer. That said, I also said the same thing about Jessica, and she didn't suck. So I don't know. If her screen time's like 4 minutes or less, okay, sure. But if she ends up being someone's carrying 10 minutes of screen time, no, that character is insufferable too. Yeah, and it would cause a lot of havoc between Matt and Karen. What else is there to talk about from this season? I think we've covered pretty much everything, right? I mean, there's Karen considering killing Poindexter only to be stopped by Matt. There seems to be a little rift between them right now on how to deal with people like Poindexter and Fisk. I don't know. Does Karen end up killing somebody at some point? I mean, somebody else besides Wesley. In the Daredevil Born Again verse, does she end up killing somebody? I don't know. Thank you, Cal. Thank you. I don't know. She has definitely shown that she is closer to the Frank Castle logic than she is Daredevil's now. So, do you think that happens? Maybe this storyline is too dark and gritty for Kate and Kamala. Um, I mean, I can see logic for that. I mean, this show's had some bubbly characters. I mean, Foggy was pretty upbeat. Mr. Charles has a little personality to him. So there are some like lighter tone characters in the show, but you are right that the vast majority of this show is pretty dark. But what I would say to that, I mean, if that's the writing team being like, oh, we don't want to have these characters in such a dark and gritty story. This goes back to what I was talking about several minutes ago. You can't have all these universes connected. Then if you're going to pick and choose who can be in what world or what type of content, you need to have separate worlds for them that never overlap ever on TV, on movie, ever, because you have now decided this character is off limits to this project, but characters from that product might end up there. We could see a timeline where, well, we've already seen a timeline. We've had Fisk in Kate's show. We've literally had Fisk in her show. She's connected to it. You've already connected those dots. There's zero reason that she can't be in Daredevil Born Again. And Kamala's connected through her dad, who last season with Matt in the bank. They're both connected. They're already connected. There's zero excuse for them to be like, well, we can't have them in there because this isn't the type of show that they're generally connected to. They are now connected. They are. You've already had Fisk on Kate's show. You've had Kamala's dad on Daredevil show. You've already decided there is a connection there. I don't know at what point they just have to accept these shows are connected and that we have to start treating them that way and having characters who may not fit the vibe of a show still have to show up in that show in some capacity when you know they should be around. Like, there's no reason Kate or Kamala aren't around for this. I mean, Kamala maybe a little less because she's in New Jersey. But Kate already is in New York, has a direct association to Fisk. End of story. Discussion over. In recent Daredevil, I liked it addressed that the cycle with Matt and Fisk has gone on for way too long, so I don't know how they'll save the day. Yeah, it has gone on really long, and they have addressed that. Like, that speech they had the last time where Matt says, you leave New York, I leave New York, kind of thing. I mean, that is the only way that these two leave this scenario in a peaceful manner, and it's not going to happen. I don't know what the actual answer is to wrap that story up yet. Spider-Man and Daredevil is the one team up I've wanted to happen for years because I like the friendship Peter has with Matt, considering they're both street tier. Yeah, I mean, we've had a sniff of that in the Spider-Man movie, right? Again, Daredevil was allowed to be in that. Daredevil was allowed to be in Sony's production, but Sony won't allow vice versa. So stupid. I mean, if there were any Sony products that I knowingly had, I probably would boycott using them just out of spite. I'd just be like, you losers. But as far as I know, I don't have any. I'm going to be sucking on a lozenge while I talk, so sorry if there's any like weird clacking sounds. Just all this talking. I haven't done it in a long time, and throat is definitely feeling it. All right, I'm going to ask the 2 or 3 of you that are actually here in chat. Tell me one thing you think will happen in this season, in season 2, and one thing you hope will happen in season 2. Let me see your comments. Well, to be fair, Kate and Kamala will be in Doomsday. That movie will be dealing with the destruction of the entire world, so it's going to be extremely tough. There you go. Well, you guys are giving me your answers. I'll start talking about The Boys. Final season. Almost end of the road. And it has been the end of the road for some things. The loss of A-Train, definitely, I mean, yeah, I think most people that watch this show for any length of time understood A-Train is probably eventually going to be killed off. And they did an amazing job with the redemption arc at the end. I think his death scene was wonderful. The way he just downplayed Homelander's power and mocked it was just, you can't hurt Homelander too many ways, but you can hurt his ego. His ego can definitely be hurt. And A-Train knew it. A-Train was like, you're just a joke. You're not that special, blah, 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 blah. He ran him through the ringer emotionally. And yeah, he died for it, but he knew he was dying anyway. He knew he was dying, and his thought process was like, I might go out, but I'm going to take a little part of you with me. And he did a great job at it. Let's see, the Defenders team up again. Sure, I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I mean, we already have Jessica. Long as she's not in it a lot, fine. Who else was that? Luke Cage and Iron Fist, right? Is there a fifth person? I think it's just those four, right? Okay. Yeah, sure. I don't see it happening this season, maybe next season, but I don't see it happening this season. I have met Maisie. If I have met Sophie, I don't recall meeting her. Maisie was nice. Maisie had an out. So the way I met Maisie was actually pretty funny. I was going to an event. This is during the film festival in Toronto. I was going to an event somewhere on the other side of town because back then the film festival had like several theaters spread out through the bottom half of the downtown Toronto. It takes like 20 minutes to walk from one venue to another. And I was walking from one venue to another when I walked by one of the hotels that the actors stay at. And I purposely walked by there just to see if there's any trucks waiting around. And sure enough, there were several trucks lined up there. So I walk over, and in the windows of the trucks, they'll usually tell you which production it's for, because the actors need to know which vehicle to get into. So I noticed it was for Maisie's movie. I don't remember what the movie is now, but I noticed it was for Maisie's movie. So I decided to wait around for 10 minutes. I thought I had probably 10, maybe 15 minutes I could kill. I was there not even 2 minutes. She walks out. And the way it was set up, I'm standing here. There's about a 6 to 8 foot buffer between me and where the door is that they come out. That I'm not allowed to go up to them because there's a fence in the way. So I see her. I'm like, "Hey, Maisie, you have time to sign an autograph?" And her rep immediately speaks to her and is like, "Nope, she can't. She's got to go. She's got to get on the red carpet." I'm like, "I'm the only one here. There's no one else here. It's going to take you 10 seconds." She turned around and walked over to me and signed. So not everybody would do that. And I can give you a perfect example. Trying to remember her last name, Catherine O'Hara. Recently departed. Everybody, talked about wonderful things about her. But I've met a woman twice in my life, and both times were not. She was not a enjoyable person to meet. She did the exact opposite, where she, at the same hotel, told 2, maybe 3 fans. There was 2, maybe 3. There was about 7 of us there, but most of us didn't care because It was just the ones that wanted selfies that cared. The rest of us didn't have anything to get signed. She told them, I'm in a rush, I've got to go. Then went and sat in her truck for 5 minutes, then got out, had like another 5-minute conversation with somebody she knew from the industry, then went and sat back in her truck for another 5 minutes before she got to leave. She had 15 minutes to take these 3 selfies and sat in her truck for 10 of them and talked to someone else she knew for 5 of them. Exact opposite scenario of Maisie, who was told, I gotta go, and still turned around and came over, you know? So yeah. Even though I like Matthew Lillard, the heck is with Mr. Charles, he just pops up, acts goofy and sinister, and leaves. He's cocky. I don't know if it's goofy. I mean, it comes off maybe goofy just because Matthew Lillard has that vibe, but it's also a cockiness. And when you're cocky, some of that cockiness comes across as goofy, you know? I think it's more of a cockiness than an acting goofy thing. But yeah, he's clearly got his fingers deep in some pies, and I think he's going to be a nuisance to someone. We had that last scene that he had in the last episode where he told the governor, he's like, I'm here to solve your city hall problem. I think he's about to screw over Fisk in some way. Will that get him killed is the question. Does that end up getting him killed? Colleen Wing and Misty Knight back? Yeah, I mean, sure. They're good characters. I don't have a problem. I just don't know. I'm not opposed to it. Rudest Game of Thrones person I've met. They've actually been mostly pretty good. There's probably been someone that's been rude. Give me Amelia Clark. Not nice. Almost everybody else I've met from Game of Thrones was good. Anywhere from good to great. Peter Dinklage was a little crusty, but still stopped the sign. He just wouldn't do photos with. Sean Bean, wonderful. Maisie, good. Kit Harington, good. Who else am I missing from that show that I've met? I need to look at the cast list to remember all their names. Jason Momoa, really good. Bella Ramsey, all right. Alfie Allen, all right. Ian Glenn, good. Gwendolyn Christie, good. What the hell? Freddie Stroma was on there? He was in Game of Thrones? Oh. Yeah. Oh, Nikolai Coster-Waldau, good. Yeah, most of the ones I've met have been good, except for Amelia. And I think he's the only one. I think he's the only one that I've met that I did not have a good encounter with. Or sorry, she. Yeah. So yeah. We have a reference to Valentina Allegra de Fontaine from the Thunderbolts. Yes, we did. He referenced her twice in the episode. So yeah, we know who he's working for. We as the viewers know who he's working for. Neither anyone else, I don't think, knows. Like in the show. None of the people in the show know. Maybe Fisk does. Sorry about your encounter with Catherine. My experience with celebrities was different. It was Christopher Eccleston, Ninth Doctor from Doctor Who at a convention. He was really nice. Shook my hand and signed. That's awesome. The one thing I will say about these type of encounters, not to discredit your thing, I've heard good things about Christopher Eccleston across the board. However, at a convention, you have to take in the convention rule, and that is they're being paid to be there. They know you're paying money to meet them. They will put on the best possible public persona they can. They're getting paid to do that. It is a little different than an encounter where you meet them at a hotel, out on the street, at the airport, etc. Same as when you see people on a red carpet. The tier I would go at is like paid convention, they're going to be on their best behavior. Red carpet, they're going to be as close to the best behavior as they can. On set, probably also kind of, sort of on good behavior. Then when you get into like meeting them at a hotel or on the street or something like that, that's where you really find out the trueness of what a celebrity might be like, you know. But that's good. I'm glad you had a good experience with them. I have yet to meet any of the doctors. I've met some of their companions, never met a doctor yet. Kind of disappointed. Never met Lena Headey. This season apparently takes place after Thunderbolts. Makes sense. It's a year after. So, when I met her, she wasn't that big of a star yet. She was nice enough when I met her. I know from many other people that have met her since that celebrityness has shifted her personality. I can't go on record and say she's not nice. I can only go on what other people have told me because I haven't met her in, give me a minute, I'll tell you the year I met her. It's been a while. If I do this way. 2014. I met her 11 and a half years ago. She was fine then. From what I've heard from other people, not as much the case now. But I don't have that recent interaction, so I can't say. Fun Arrowverse fact, the same convention. I got a photo with Grant and Tom. That's awesome. That's awesome. They're good guys. Grant's moody, but the thing I really respect about Grant is he owns the fact that he's that way. In the very first season they were shooting here, we had generally good luck with him for the first quarter or so of the season. He was signing every time we'd see him, all that stuff. And then just one day he stopped signing for like 2 months. Like I saw him at several sets, he wouldn't sign. Finally, I got to him at the airport one day, and I just asked him straight up. I'm like, are you just done signing at sets? Like, should I just never ask you at set again? And he like got real with me. He's like, you know, I'll be honest, like I can be a moody person. And he's like, especially when I'm like working in that suit, I don't enjoy wearing the suit. It's kind of uncomfortable to be in. He's like, so, you know, you take someone that's already moody and you put them in something they don't like being in. Yeah, I can be a bit of an asshole sometimes. And then he signed everything I had at the airport. And then literally 24 hours later, he was back on set. That day, he came over to see fans about 5 times that day. It was like in the back of his head. He's like, I just got called out for not coming over and seeing fans. I'm going to do it every time I have a chance today. The COVID year, he wasn't very fun. Even after like the restrictions started getting lifted, he still wasn't. He was a little cranky that year. He was saying, you know, I've got a new child, all that stuff, and I understand. I accept the reason. I didn't accept the tone he necessarily said it in. But the next season after that, he was wonderful again. That final season, great. So yeah, mostly good experiences with him. And Tom, always awesome. I can't ever think of a day that Tom wasn't great. Good experiences with Jared and Jensen. Overall, yeah. Both of them had Jared had one big off night where he, several fans and myself saw him being an asshole. But most of the time, good. Jensen was consistently good. Couple times peaked into great a little bit. Couple times maybe to just barely under good. But he was consistently in that good range. He was fair. He knew he'd see us 20 times a season. He knew we were selling him. He knew that his autograph is worth, at that time, somewhere between $60 and $100. So he knew he's making us money. But he never was like, you know what, I signed for you. Last time I saw you, I'm not signing for you again. He would do one per, sometimes two. He understood the game. He understood, hey, I'm going to see these guys all the time. If I just show them a little respect, they'll show me respect. And we did. We had this unwritten rule. We'd never discussed it with them, but we kind of, through vibes, picked up. If you ask them once, give them about 2 weeks, then you can ask them again. Don't go right back, don't get them on Friday night leaving town and ask them Sunday evening coming back. Just don't. If you got him Friday, let him walk by when he comes in on Sunday. Just let him go. And in a week or two, you can get him again. And yeah, he was great in that capacity. Were the Riverdale cast nice? Up and down. Lily and Camilla were good to me, although I know a couple of people that did not particularly get along with Lily in the later seasons, but she was always good to me. KJ Appa was my problem. He was a cocky prick most of the time he was here. That said, some of the people I know that met him in the last season said he had loosened up and got nicer, but I never met him in the last season, so I never got that experience. Cole Sprouse was up and down. But he wasn't up and down in the sense of went from being a prick to nice to prick to being nice. He was kind of like a little unnice to a little nice. Little unnice to a little nice. Like on the regular. Mostly closer to a little nice side. But yeah, he was all right. For the most part, he was all right. I would put him in the average to above average niceness. But he had his weeks or months where it went the other way. Funny story I had with Cole. Our library is one of the few places where you can scan physical negatives from cameras to make them into digital for free. For free, you can do it as long as you're willing to put in the time doing it. I was there using the scanner for scanning autographs because I don't have a scanner in my house. It's too condensed to put one. So I was there using the scanner to scan autographs. It's the same scanner that you use to scan negatives. I was there scanning my autographs, which in that pile had Cole and Lily and a couple of other people. And who comes and walks in and asks the guy on the other side using the other scanner how long he's going to be? Cole and Lily. They wanted to scan negatives. And both of the scanners were in use. And I think he made eye contact with me, but I just kind of shrugged it off and went back to doing my work, kind of trying to pretend that I was just, unaware it was them. But it was funny. Never saw them come back. After the guy finished his scanning, they didn't come back. So I don't know if they were weirded out I was there or if they just left and didn't come back. Follow up to your thing. You pull out some very interesting names here. So Madeline Patch, the first couple of times I met her, miserable. But after one time that she cracked because there was someone she really disliked out of the autograph people, she signed for me out of spite of them. After that day, she was wonderful to me. There was even a time where I got the impression that she considered me a fan. Every time she'd see me, she was chipper and pleasant to me, and then she'd be a little offish with other people. And that kind of went through to the time they ended. I think the very last time I met her, she had tightened up on that personality a bit and had gone a little more into just treating me like a regular person there. But she always signed. Even when there was a time I went up to her with a photo where she's just in her bra. And she looks at it and says, oh, of course. But still signed it nicer than she signs a lot of the other photos I had. Casey Cott was an asshole. And Vanessa Morgan, I had one bad experience with her. So I can't say necessarily whether that was the norm with her or if that was just one bad day. I think I've only met her once, maybe twice. But the one time I did meet her, she was not cool. It could be a one-off. So I don't know how to go with that one. Um, do you like Kate or Yelena better? I think I will go with Kate, but they're both awesome. Like they're both awesome characters. I think I just go with Kate though. Um, Tyler Hoechlin wasn't rude the first time I got him. He was rude once, and I wouldn't even call it rude. I would call it he wasn't willing to make his own choice. So they were doing Crisis on Infinite Earths, and I was at the set. It was the set where they're um, all before the group splits apart, and some of them go to fight the demons in that building, and then the other people go elsewhere. They all meet up in like this garbage pile. I don't know what to call it. Destroyed building or something. And so they were filming there that day, and he leaves set, and he was someone I really needed badly at that moment. I really needed him on the item I was working on, which was a big cast piece for Crisis on Infinite Earths. Only person there, and there's no way he can't walk past me. The change area they had and where the vehicle was parked, big, long, 80-foot long stretch. He has to walk by me. So I just stand there casually waiting. And as he gets closer, I'm like, hey, Tyler, do you mind signing? And before he even has time to reply, one of the crew members goes, he can't, he's got to go, he's busy. I'm like, I'm literally one person standing here. Come on, Tyler, you can sign one. Like, you're going to wait at a light longer than it takes you to sign this. And he's like, oh, no, I really can't. I really can't. I got to go. And gets in the vehicle. I'm like, you're just listening to the guy that's beside you. You didn't make that decision. He said those words and you just parroted it. I was annoyed at him because I know how these things work, and I know he could have made his own decision. But that one situation, yeah. Besides that, always had a pretty good interaction with him. Got him back when he was on Supergirl. He was nice. During Superman and Lois, he was nice. Yeah. Um. Oh, I think there was also one time at the airport. He wouldn't sign at the airport. He said, not here, not at the airport." And then he signed at the airport for me like 2 months later. So I don't know what was wrong with that day. Bitsy, I never had a bad encounter with. Now, I will say this. I think um, she doesn't like people like me that sell autographs because she insisted on personalizing pretty much every item I ever asked her to sign. And that's usually a sign of I'm not doing it to be extra friendly. I'm doing it to stop you from selling. So, I mean, but she was nice enough. She never like said no. Well, I met Lily dozens of times, and I never had a bad encounter with her. Well, it's good to know his personality is the same even when he's being paid. There are some people, there are legitimately some people who, even if you're paying them money, they still are going to just be assholes. You know? Um, like, there is a mountain of stories about what an asshole William Shatner is, even at conventions, you know? And people are paying like $100 for that prick, and he's still an asshole even there, you know? So yeah, I mean, some people just still are pricks at even events like that, or they're just bad at faking being nice. That's the other thing. Um, yeah, I'd agree with that. You wish Edward Norton stayed as the Hulk, or was Ruffalo better? I can honestly say I don't remember the Norton Hulk movie. I'm pretty sure I saw it, but I can't remember it. So it's I would go with I would go with Ruffalo just because he's the Hulk I'm familiar with. Smallville cast was not nice, right? Most of them weren't. There's a few problems on that cast. Started with Tom Welling. Tom Welling, asshole. Kristen Kruk, asshole. Uh, I was trying to think of a smart ass way to say it, but Allison Mack, asshole. I was trying to think of a smart ass way to say her name, but couldn't come up with one in time. There were some good ones though. John Schneider was nice. Erica Durance was nice. Cassidy Freeman was nice. God, I'm forgetting so many names. Justin Hartley back then was nice. Now that he's doing Tracker, he seems to have a little bit of an ego. Who else was on that show that I'm forgetting? Michael Rosenbaum was generally nice. I think I've named most of the primary people on that show, right? That's good. That's good. Yeah. 2008 Hope was the last time he was taken seriously. Okay. I mean, I'm pretty sure. Like I said, I think I've seen the movie, but I can't say with certainty that I have. It's so long ago. I have technically not met her yet. I have seen her in person a few times, but I've not met her. And like by met me, I mean me go, hey, Isabella, and her engage back. I've never had that chance yet. It's always been from like 40 feet away, right? So yeah, not yet. Maybe this season. We'll see. I mean, her character should be back at some point. I know it's an Abby heavy season, but I know there's scenes with Bella at some point later this year. So I would assume she'll be in them too. She's awesome as Hawkgirl. I agree. Um, Time to pivot to The Boys. The Boys season 5. When I did the title card for the video, I put season 4 and had to go back and edit it. Oopsie daisy. They all bring different things. They all bring different things. I don't think it's a fair comparison. It's also not a fair comparison to Corn Sweat because you're dealing with someone. Cavill had two, 1.5 main movies and then a couple of like secondary movies. Hecklin had 5 seasons of a TV show. I mean, technically closer to like 4 seasons, but you know what I'm saying. You can't compare them because Corn Sweat hasn't had the time to put in the same hours of screen time that the other two have. So it's not a fair comparison. They're also very different characters across the board. I think Corn Sweat and Hoagland are a little more closer in, vibe, but you can't compare them. All right, so The Boys season 5, we are tracking down. I already talked about A Train, and what else was there? We have Kimiko has her voice. That was a bit of a shock. I mean, we all knew that she spoke at the end of the last season, but we didn't know what to expect when she finally started speaking. And I think a lot of people were surprised that her voice was North American. But they did a good job, I think, of covering up why that is with her listening to TikTok so much. I think that plays a little bit into her accent being more Americanized than Asian. Was she Filipino? I think Filipino. Or I mean, the character. No, I mean Kimiko is a very Japanese name. Wouldn't she be Japanese? But yeah, it's good to see her speaking. She's had some good moments in the show so far. It's good to see her and Frenchie get together, although it looks like they're about to break up, which will suck. That is probably the one couple in the entire show that I'm like, I hope they stay together. I hope they get together and stay together. And it looks like they might break up. Meanwhile, you have Annie and Huey. Looks like they are sorting out problems they did have and are about to reconcile that. I don't know what to think yet of Butcher. I think he dies. I think he dies before the season ends. Not sure how. Not sure what if it's going to be Homelander or what, but he will die before the season ends. I'm not sure how many characters come out of this alive. I guess some of that depends on what happens with the whole V1 thing. If the boys get V1, I think one of Kimiko or Starlight survive, but I think the other one will die because they said they did all those test runs back then and only 5 people survived. Now, current superheroes already have some version of V in their system. They have a watered down version of V, so they're kind of technically a little bit already used to it. So the success rate might be a little higher, but it's probably not about 50%. Like it's probably like 20%. So I can see a scenario where like 1 in 5 soups survive it. And on the boys, we only have 2 soups actively on the team. And I think it's probably a 50-50. One of them survives, one of them doesn't. I'd be surprised if they kill off Huey, but I would not be surprised if MM or Frenchie die. Yeah. Meanwhile, over on the Vought side, I think everybody on the Vought roster could die. I don't think they all will. I think 1, maybe 2 of them survive somehow. But I could see that roster being decimated. I think Homelander dies somehow. I don't know what's going to kill him, but I think he dies somehow. I also think Soldier Boy dies, even though he is technically unkillable right now. I don't know, again, how that will happen, but I do believe that happens. Out of the rest of them, I mean, you've got the Deep, Noir, Sister Sage. I don't know whom does make it out. I don't know. I guess technically Ashley is also superhuman now. With the most ridiculous power ever. That's the thing. Like, even if you take V, there's no guarantee you get an awesome power. You know? Yeah. Anybody got some insight or ideas or theories or questions for the boys? I'll give you guys like 1 minute to come up with something. If not, I will move on to showing some of the sex photos I've taken recently from the things I've covered. I just realized I forgot one thing. Get that there. Where did I put it? Okay. All right. Sorry, I'm just renaming a file so that it's at the end of the folder. Oh man, who are you most excited to see in Doomsday out of Thor, Sam Wilson, and Elaine? Elaine. You'll have to watch The Boys. Fair enough. Do you still talk to Paige or Eric? I've tried talking to Eric a couple of times. When I did that whole Arrowverse thing, I invited him twice, and he said, "Yeah, I'll do it," and then he never showed up. So I don't know what that guy. I haven't talked to Paige in years, probably 2, 3, 4 years now. We just don't overlap much, right? He sticks mostly to like his superhero shows, and there's none filming here now. I mean, he's not really doing the YouTube stuff nearly as much, if at all, right? Like I remember maybe 6, 8 months ago checking in just to see what he was up to, and he'd only done like 2 videos like the last 6 months. So I don't know. It sucks we never got a proper crossover after Crisis. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. One of the many things that we got screwed over on by COVID was we never got another chance for another crossover. But we got Crisis. At the end of the day, it was going to be almost impossible for them to ever top Crisis. Just the sheer quantity of episodes, the sheer quantity of characters, the sheer quantity of cameos. It was going to be very hard to top that ever again. You know? Yeah. All right. So no one seems to have any discussions about The Boys, so I'm just going to bring up some of the photos I've shot recently. Let me just make sure I got these in order. I'm going to start with most boring to most interesting, based off of how I think you guys might care. All right, we're going to start off with a TV show that has not appeared on stream yet, but they're already filming season 2. We have Elle. It is a Legally Blonde prequel show. So the girl in pink that you see there, that is Elle. That is the Reese Witherspoon character on the show. So this is some of the shots I shot at the one set they did in downtown. Now, the show is supposed to be. I have to. Do I seriously have to open up? Are you kidding me? Well, that's just stupid. All right. So the show is supposed to be set in Seattle, but the shots on this particular day were in New York. They're doing a scene where the characters are in New York for some reason. So you've got Elle just standing about. They're doing a walking scene where they're going to a theater that the play Rent is playing at. There she is talking to the director, who, fun fact, the director for this episode is Roswell star Sherry Appleby. Yeah, I didn't know Sherry Appleby was the director till I got home, was looking at the photos. I'm like, that looks like Sherry Appleby. Then I looked up the directors on the episode, and she was. I'm like, oh, okay. Kind of random. There she is again. This is her co-star, Jessica Belkin, who will also be in the new Baywatch show that's coming out. She's one of the characters in the Baywatch show. So she's doing some double duty time. Literally, I think the day after or 2 days after she filmed this scene, she was back in Los Angeles shooting Baywatch. There's Elle laughing. They put up a fake Williamsburg Bridge sign here because we don't have a Williamsburg Bridge in Vancouver. There they are having a serious conversation. You can see the Rent sign there, and you can see a sign above that said Rent is moving. We're going to Broadway. So this is right when Rent went to Broadway back in the 90s. The actual date of this is like April 11th, I think it said. The notice says April 11th, going to Broadway. There they are again, talking. Oh, I got a super chat, so let's interrupt everything to read what IC has to say. Hey, howdy, good to see you too. Thoughts on Gen V now canceled? You know, I never watched season 2. It was kind of one of those things where I'm like, oh, I got to get to that before The Boys starts. Oh man, Boys is almost here. I got to watch Gen V, but I just never found the time to and never did. I'm shocked. I'm a little bit shocked that it got canceled, especially because they've got the Homelander, not Homelander, Soldier Boy prequel one coming out. I thought they would just keep that universe constantly rotating through, right? But maybe not. I don't know what that means for overall everything of the show, right? Because there's probably some storylines at the end of The Boys that, in theory, Gen V should have sorted out. So I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to see how The Boys ends before you really know how to feel about it, right? Because if they leave a couple things unfulfilled, that it's like, well, Gen V would have covered this. Then what? Like, you can't do it on the Soldier Boy one because that's it set in the past. So I don't know. Here's a complicated one. Stephen was always nice to me in person. I'll start with that. The only time he was not nice to me in person, he was still nice enough. He was just trying to appease people that he didn't need to appease. We got into a debate one time, and after I told him my point of view, he didn't push back against it. So either he understood what I was saying, or he didn't want to argue it harder because he wasn't like that interested in the argument. Besides that, he never had a problem with me in person. Now online, he's said some things obviously in the past that he's not a good person for saying. Was he a bad person? Maybe not, but he's definitely not a good person for it. And I've called him out on it. Like a lot of you that are regulars here have heard me repeatedly talk about the time where I DM'd him and called him out through DMs on the stuff he was saying during the Black Lives Matter protests. And his reply to me at that time was, "Don't ever message me again." He didn't want to have the conversation. He didn't want to hear that he was wrong. Yeah. And then meanwhile, like 2 years later or 3 years later, I saw him on the set for that last Flash crossover. And he's nice to me there still. He knows who I am. He knows the name Canadagrass. He knows who Canadagrass is. So it's not like he didn't know that's the same guy that called him out in DMs. So yeah, he was nice to me in person. He's also someone that I think is aware enough to realize that earlier in his career, he might have had an ego. He's talked about it on like Rosenbaum's podcast before, that early in his career, some people found him hard to deal with, and he's acknowledged that that is true. He's acknowledged that he was a bit of an ego. So I respect him a little bit for at least saying it. I still think some of the shit he said, he's never come out and apologized for those things. He's never said, you know what, I understand why some people think I'm wrong. He's never owned that. And that's, a mark on his character. But he was always nice to me. But that's not enough of a justification to give him a flying A+ grade on. I would give him a passing grade, but a barely passing. And a lot of that has to do with his off-screen tweets and stuff, and what he talked about on his podcast at one time. And those things are a large enough mark against him that it almost fails him. Almost. But I think his off-screen personality with the public, like with us, with other public, he's at least done the job. He's done the job of a celebrity trying to keep fans happy when he meets them. Yeah. True, I just want to see Marie see her fully stand off against Homelander, get her licks in, but you're right. I guess we got to see how season 5 before a full consensus. I, for one, am bummed about it. Fair enough. I am bummed too, even though I haven't even watched season 2 yet. Mel was on Rosenbaum's podcast. Never knew. He's been on there a lot. He is at least 3 times I know of has been on Rosenbaum's podcast. It might even be 4 or 5 by now. I don't follow Rosenbaum anymore ever. When he had Allison Mack on, I stopped following him. So I don't know if he's had him on ever since again. But up until that point, he'd been on there at least 3 times, maybe even 4 or 5. It's crazy Michael Rosenbaum had Allison Mack on. Yeah, it is crazy. And I stopped following him over that. I used to follow his podcast, and I would even occasionally watch ones of people I wasn't even interested in because they have some good insight on things on there. He is good at his job. I will give him that. He is good at the job. However, there's certain people you do not have on. You just do not have these people on. You do not help them try and wash their image. So fuck him. I'm done watching his podcast. I don't care. He could have every celebrity who I'm a fan of or that's coming to town and I want to find out more about. You get to have every single one of them on in a row and I'm not watching them, you know? Yeah. Sorry I'm late. Just found out now you are live. Well, the good news is, heroes, you can always watch it on playback after the fact. You only see the one with Grant and Danielle? Okay. Yeah, I've watched quite a few over the years. There's a few I watched that I thought were good, that were of people I didn't even care about. I just was like, hey, Michael Rosenbaum's got a new podcast. Hey, I remember this person from insert movie here. I'll watch and see what they have to say. Yeah. Opinion on Florence Pugh. Her character is great. And Tyler Hecklin, which is how I found been saying his last name wrong. I still don't know how to say his name. I'm sure they said it in the podcast, and I forgot to remember it. There's a lot of things he talked about in there that was kind of interesting. Like, I didn't know about his whole baseball thing, where he had a real shot at being a baseball player, and then acting gig came up, and he chose the acting gig over the baseball. All right, let's get through the rest of these photos before more questions pop up. There is Jessica again, and the girl in front is Gabrielle. I'm going to forget the last name. I want to say like Patino or something like that. It definitely starts with a P, and it's like kind of an Italian last name, but I can't remember her last name off the top of my head. It's Gabrielle something. There's Elle again. Lexi Mindtree, by the way, is the actress that plays Elle. Yeah, there she is getting her hair done. There they are having the conversation about the play that I guess isn't there, and they came there looking to watch the play, and it's not there. So you have Lexi, you have Gabrielle, you have Jessica, and then you have on the far end is Chandler Kinney. She is had a couple of things in the past that she had moderate success or fame with, but this is probably going to be like the thing she's most known for in the foreseeable future. There's a good close-up of her like expression on her face. There's the four of them walking together, walking down the street. There they are again. There's the other three, because in the scene you can see I'm pointing at the screen like you can see what I'm pointing at. You can see Elle over here is very far ahead of the rest of the group already, and she only gets further and further and further ahead of them as the scene goes on, and the other three are way back here. So yeah, these three end up walking alone together across the street at one point. And that's it for that set. We'll get to the next set in a minute, but let's see what I got here. I've got a super sticker. I'm going to have to look on the live stream to see what the super sticker is, because they don't show on the StreamYard. It is a box of popcorn. Got me a box of popcorn. Awesome. Can't eat popcorn, so I will put it on my shelf. Thanks, Cal. I mean, do you know people who have met Florence? Oh, I don't, or if I do, I don't remember what they've had to say. I never knew his acting gig that he denied was Twilight. Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, he turned down Twilight. It was supposed to be the Kellen Lutz role. With autographs and stuff. Yeah, I don't know how she is. What are your thoughts on Daredevil Born Again Season 2 so far? Well, Hero's Journey, you are about half an hour to an hour and a half late on those thoughts, but generally, very good. Really happy. I don't think they've missed on anything. Have they had things that maybe they, you could be like, well, they could have maybe done this, or they maybe could have done that. Of course, I think you can say that about almost any show, but I don't think they've had a miss. I don't think they've had something where anyone's been like, oh, well, that was a stupid idea. I don't think they've had that yet. Yeah, that's a quick TLDR, but there's like 45 minutes to an hour of us talking about it earlier that you can watch on playback. Oops, I skipped. Daniel Panabaker mentioned in the Rosenbaum that one of the Arrowverse actors refused to do crossovers or pay disputes. It was Katie Cassidy, right? I have no idea. I actually honestly don't know the answer to that. But if I were to guess, she would be high up on the list of people I think you could potentially consider would be the one. I've been sitting here for an hour and a half and I forgot I had cola poured and it's now almost room temperature. So gotta finish that up. I think she alluded to it being Katie Cassidy, but it's open to whoever wasn't in the crossovers. Right, yeah. You can watch all the crossovers and be like, oh, this regular never shows up in them. Or they only show up in like one. You could do that. You could do that and come to a reasonable conclusion. Yeah. Do you want sets that do you want set photo spoilers for season 3? If you mean to show on the stream, no, I'm not going to show someone else's copyrighted content. If you mean for me to just peruse casually, sure, you can DM it to me or whatever, and I'll watch it later. Or you can even put the link in here in case other people want to see it. But I won't be showing them on stream because it's not my content. Yeah, so let's move on to the next show, which would be, I just have it titled as blog filler. I forgot about that. The next thing coming up, I mean, just mentioning what was shown using chat. Yeah, I guess I could do that. You could send it to me. I could look at it off screen and mention it, sure. And then, I mean, if you post a link in chat, everybody else can look along with them. But yeah, I can't bring them up on screen just because I know myself how I deal with copyright, so I can just assume others would, act that same way, right? I mean, it would be fair of them. All right, next thing we're bringing up is a movie that's filming here right now. And that movie is got an actor that some people have probably heard of. Adam Sandler is in town. He is filming a drama. It is not a comedy, which is a little outside of his norm. It's called Time Out. It is a remake of a movie that was already done many years ago. It's about a man that, worked in the big business world, loses his job, but doesn't tell his family he lost his job and pretends to go to work every day and ends up just like bumbling around, sleeps in his car sometimes, and then gets involved in a Ponzi scheme. And I don't know all the details. I just know like the vague, like loose outline of it. But it's got a few interesting people in it. Adam Sandler is in it. He is the main character. He's been in every set I've been to so far, and I've been to several. He's been in every scene I've been in, or I've been to. There he is again. These are all from the first set that he did. He's talking to the director there, who is Scott Cooper. There he is again. There he is again. So he's dressed very professionally in this scene. And in this scene, it's very interesting. I have video of it, but I'm not going to show the video. I might have even posted it already. I can't remember. But in the video, he does a scene where he's driving a big Range Rover, the vehicle that's right behind him there. And he comes in really fast, and he is supposed to like just pull up to the curb really fast, get out, and storm into the building. In the second and third take he did, He actually hit the curb with the tire, and they had to change the tire up. They had to completely stop production, take the old tire off, put a new tire on, and they don't just have tires sitting around waiting because they're not expecting him to hit the curb with the tire. So they have to call in a repair truck from like the circus to come there with a tire so they can change the tire out and then reset the scene. And then the very next take, he did it again. So after the second time he did it, they're just like, we're done with the scene today. We got 3 takes. I guess we're using one of those takes. So after that set, I saw him about a week later, and I saw him doing a scene with someone I actually saw on the first set, but on that first set, he was only working inside the building. They did some interior scenes that day, so sorry, I just realized I've still got that up on the screen. Let's just pull that down. So he was doing a scene at the second set with someone I saw on that first set, but at a different location, and that person was James Corden. I could not have been more underwhelmed. No offense. I just don't like him. He comes across a little smug. I've heard that people that worked with him had some issues with him. And like, there's not a single thing he ever did on his talk show that people were like, oh my God, I loved that. I mean, people like say like carpool karaoke, but for me, I never gave a crap about that. But yeah, he was doing a scene with Adam out on the street. There's Adam in very different attire that day. There's James again, staring right at me, probably realizing I'm judging his career. I don't know, maybe. And then this is stuff I got signed at from Adam since he's been here. I got these 3 photos signed, 2 from The Wedding Singer, 1 from Happy Gilmore. And then I got the Funko signed down here in paint pen. And then this is the actual, well, one of, because they had 3 or 4 different ones during the movie. This is one of the boards they use on the golf signs during Happy Gilmore. I got this at a prop sale way back in the day. It was there used to be a few places in Vancouver that just sold props after they were done. It wasn't nearly the collectibles business it is now. And I went in there one day because they had advertised eventually somewhere, like I can't remember if it was in the paper or something, but somewhere I saw an advertisement for this place, and it was literally like 2 blocks from the film studio. And I went in there looking for stuff from a TV show that I really liked back then, thinking they would have some stuff from that, but I never found anything from that. Instead, I saw a pile that was like this wide of these boards sitting on the ground, and they were just in a pile. And immediately I recognized they were the golf signs from Happy Gilmore. So I went flipping through the pile, and I found Gilmore's at the very back of the pile, and I pull it out. I go up to the guy. I'm like, how much do you want for this? He goes, you can take the whole pile for $5. Now, I am on foot, need to take like 3 different buses and a SkyTrain to get home. I don't want to carry a pile of these things with me. I'm like, I just really want this one. And he's like, yeah, sure, 25 cents. I'm like, okay, sold. Looking back on it, I should have taken the McGavin one. I should have taken the Gilmore Barker one. Like there was those 3 were in there. I mean, I know the McGavin was for sure. I'm assuming the Gilmore Barker one was as well, just because I did see the split name ones in there. I didn't see the Gilmore Barker because I wasn't looking for Gilmore Barker. I was only looking for the Gilmore. And so, yeah, I got that for $1 back in the day. Now, it sat on my wall for like 8 or 10 years. So you can see there's some discoloring on it. You can see there's a little bit of yellow around it, so there's a little discoloring on it. But it's literally a one-of-a-kind item. There's never going to be another one anywhere in the world. And I got it signed by him. So, yeah, that's what I got done. Well, they've been filming here. Let's catch up to chat, see what else has been going on in chat. Okay, I got to that. Do that. Unless I was an image with a female muse. Ah, I assume it's Heather. Oh, it's 101% Heather. 101% that is Heather. The other was a white beard kingpin. What? Wearing a black coat and hat. No way. What? Okay. Interesting. Thanks. Have you met any of the cast of The Boys or Gen V? Yes. I have met Carl Urban, and he's a dick. I have met Chase Crawford. He was not nice. Who else is on there? I've met Erin Moriarty, also not nice. I am noticing a theme the more I think about this show. Boys cast. Jensen Ackles, wonderful. Chantal Van Santen was nice. Simon Pegg was nice. Claudia Dumet, nice. Elizabeth Shue, nice. Giancarlo Esposito, nice. Jennifer Esposito, kind of nice. And now we're getting into like people no one probably remembers. Jeffrey Dean Morgan was nice. Haley Joe Osment. Shawn Ashmore, nice. David Diggs, nice. Jim Beaver, nice. Although he had an argument with me on the internet one time. Billy Zane was nice. Although he literally was in for one episode. But of the core cast, Carl Urban, not great. Erin Moriarty, not great. Chase Crawford, not great. Jensen Ackles, good. Secondary characters, Claudia Dumet, nice. Simon Pegg, Chantal Van Santen, Elizabeth Shue, Giancarlo Esposito, David Diggs, Jeffrey Dean Morgan were all right. Yeah. Where was I? Oh, wow, that's cool. I don't know what that's in reference to anymore, but okay. When you were describing the Adam Sandler movie, I legit thought that you were gonna say there's a sequel to Click, like a time jump to remote is back. No. It's actually for Happy Gilmore 3. No, I'm just kidding. You prefer street level or cosmic level superhero stories? I prefer good stories. I don't care which way they're done, just as long as they're good. Who's a better villain, Thanos or Kingpin? I mean, Kingpin's killed a few people, maybe even in the hundreds, because he had all those guys in the boat get killed. Thanos killed half of the universe, so you do the math. Talking about Corden, I assume? Yeah. I just, his vibe did not work for me. Of all the talk show hosts who've been in recent memory, he is, for me, at the bottom. And it's not even like barely at the bottom. Like it's like I consider Jimmy Fallon the worst one that exists right now. There's still a notable gap between him and Corden. Like he just was not good. That joke, I'm not joking. That's a real possibility, by the way. Like Adam Sandler is one of those guys that if you're in like his circle of people, he's like, I got you, man. We're doing this movie coming up. I'll get you a role. You'll get like 5 days of work out of it. You know, he's one of those guys. He's one of those guys. If you're in his inner circle, he'll get you into something that he's working on. Dude, you got assigned one of The Wedding Singer. What did Sandler say? Nothing really. He doesn't really speak much. When he's doing it, he's just basically silent, getting over with so he can get back to going home. You know, his routine has been consistently finish work. And why am I so fuzzy? Hello? That was weird. His routine has been consistently finish work, go get changed, get in his vehicle, drive out from wherever they are, and at wherever the first access point is, the public can meet him. He will stop there and sign. But it's very quick. Like, he's not sitting around for 10 minutes answering questions. He's just sitting in his car, waiting at the end of an alley or at a light, and then signing and then leaving. Yeah. Have I met Josh Brolin? Yes, he was okay. Not overly nice, but not bad. Chantel, it's spelled with an S, not a C. But yeah, Chantel was in the Flash. You are correct. Yep, Patty Spivot. Talking about Corden when I said, yeah, I kind of assumed. I really feel like Conan should have gotten much more recognition and traction. Conan O'Brien got screwed over so hard by that Jay Leno controversy, like so hard. I mean, he bounced back pretty nice. He got that TBS contract and got his own show there that paid well, but it's not the same level of fame as being the Tonight Show host. You know, he should have been the Tonight Show host. We should have never been enduring Jimmy Fallon. Yeah, it's just bad luck. And I've met Conan, wonderful guy, super nice. I've also met Jay Leno, who was nice to me. He was nice to me, but as a business person, piece of crap, right? We can all everybody in the industry can agree Jay Leno's not a great person for the stuff he pulled. Yeah. Have I ever met Vince McMahon and Jonathan Coachman? I have. I have met Vince McMahon a few times. I've definitely met Jonathan Coachman, but I'll say I met him back when he was not really that big in the show yet. And so he's not really someone I thought about. Vince McMahon, on the other hand, yeah, I've met him more times than I can count. I've got a photo with Vince McMahon, and I don't know where it is. I know where my photo with Stephanie is, obviously, because that was going to be my future ex-wife one day, but it never worked out. But I have photos with Vince, but I don't know where it is. Not in here, is it? Don't think it's in here. No, it's not in here. Yeah, I've got a photo of Vince somewhere in all of my photos, but I don't know where to find it. So yeah. I always felt like Jensen was the antithesis opposite of Stephen Amell. Yeah. I don't know if I would say that. I think Jensen is far more reserved in speaking his mind. He won't just. Stephen Amell will tell you what's on his mind, whereas Jensen probably won't. It is entirely possible Jensen has some overlapping personalities with Amell, and just no one knows because he doesn't really talk about it the same, you know. Antithesis is basically the opposite. So you haven't met Huey, Jack Quaid, or the boys. I forgot he was in the Hunger Games for a couple of seconds. I didn't know he was in the Hunger Games either. Granted, I watched those a long time ago. No, I haven't met any of the other boys. I mean, I'd love to meet Karen Fukuhara and Laz Alonso. I guess Frenchie too. I mean, yeah, I'd like to meet all of them. But yeah, personally, I've had some bad luck with the people that were on that show. Now, I met all of them before they were on The Boys. I don't know how they are now on The Boys. I heard from people in Toronto, Chase Crawford is nicer. I've heard from a couple people that are in Toronto. They've been finding him to be fine. So, yeah. But yeah, I'd love to meet Karen Fukuhara someday, even if she is a bitch. At least I could say I met her. Yeah. Then Stephanie is Triple H seemed intimidating to me. Stephanie was a sweetheart back in the day. Like, she was one of my like top celebrity crushes for a while. So nice, so friendly, so approachable. Even after she hooked up with Triple H, still nice and approachable. Never had a bad encounter with her ever. I kept like 5 or 6 of the things I got signed by her in my collection. Like I sell 99.9999% of the things I get, and I've got like 5 or 6 from her in my collection. Have a good one, Cal. Thanks for dropping by, man. Thanks for the super chats and the super sticker. But yeah, she is always someone that I've had great encounters with. Same with Vince. I've always had great encounters with Vince. I think a lot of that was that Vince is a businessman, and Vince realizes if you keep this guy happy, this guy's going to buy into your product. You know, I think that is a thought process that goes through Vince McMahon's head every time he's encountering someone. He's encountering it as, if I sign for this guy, he will have to go buy another item to get signed the next time. And that is money that goes in my pocket. Everything is transactional, I think, to him. And I am just a commodity. And he treats his commodity with the understanding, if I treat you nice, you're going to come back. Triple H is the absolute opposite of both of them. Fucking bag of dicks. Never had a good encounter with this guy. If I knew I could punch him and get away with it, I probably would, just because he has been such a cock, and such a cocky cock too. Like, it's not just he was not nice. He would laugh when people would like they would send their kid up to get an item signed, or just to try and meet him, and he would just like shrug them off, and then the kid would be like, come on, you're my favorite, and he would just laugh about it. He would laugh. And like, I just was like, man, you deserve a fucking punch in the head. But he's Triple H, and statistically, he probably could beat me if I did that. Will you be watching Spider Noir? If so, which color? I have no idea what that even means. Sorry, probably not. Is Yelena a better character than Natasha, in your opinion? I hope Natasha comes back. I like Yelena better. I was kind of indifferent on Natasha. Didn't hate her, but I didn't have that same like, oh my god, I love this character that many other people did. Yeah. Is Coach friendly? Yeah. 98% of the WWE guys were friendly. There's like any subdivision of celebrities, there's some that are assholes, but most of them were good. Yeah. The Nicolas Cage Spider-Man show next month. The entire sentence just sounds wrong. You're telling me Superman is going to be Spider-Man? No, at this moment I can't say I know anything about it. Sorry. Is it like a cartoon or something, or is it like a live action? I haven't heard, or if I have heard about it, I don't know it. But it's not on my list of things to watch. No. Sorry. Last of Us Season 3 is the final season. Is it? Have they said that with certainty? Because I haven't heard that. The Last of Us Season 3 final season? Is expected to be the final season. Okay. Interesting. Okay. All right. We'll see. I mean, we have seen a lot of things happen over the years where something is expected to be the final season, and then they go on for 10 more years. Supernatural. So we'll see. Live action. Interesting. I'll try and remember to look into it, but off the top of my head, it's not something I've been thinking about. So let's go to the last set of the evening, which, funny enough, is also a part of the show's name. So we have had a couple of sets so far this year for the Last of Us. Yep, The Last of Us is filming season 3, as we were just talking about. and I've only really caught them filming twice. I have had sets for them 3 or 4 other times, but just logistics got in my way or dumb luck. Um, I learned something when I was at the set the other night. Very interesting, considering the show is set in Seattle. Had a crew member straight up tell me they do not shoot exterior scenes when it's raining. They want it to be dry all the time, which is crazy because Seattle is like Vancouver. It rains there 3/4 of the year. It's weird, but they want the scenes to have a dry and sunny look to it, so they won't film on days where it's raining. They've got backup plans, like studio backup plans, for days when it's raining. And it's screwed me over a couple times. There's been a couple of sets I've known about that I went to go try, and it was on days where I guess it was raining, and I never saw them. But here's the one set that I did catch them at. They were filming up on a rooftop, and you can see there that is Caitlin Dever as Abby Anderson. She's walking up the stairs, and here the other character is Lev is the character name, and the actress's name is Kiriana Crater. I want to say that's the name. There's something along the lines of Kiriana Crater. Like Crowder is definitely the last name. I can't remember if Kiriana or Kirana, something like that is the first name. And I'm not going to go look it up this immediate second because that's just going to slow this down. But she plays the character Lev. People have an issue with the fact that Lev seems to be about the same size as Abby because she's supposed to be bigger. But it is what it is. There is Lev standing at the top of the stairs, and you can see Abby getting down off the stairs. There's Lev coming up off the stairs. So I didn't get to see much of the scene because the scene was actually like this cement wall you see here, this brick wall, goes down about 2 or 3 feet. So the scene was back a ways. So you have this ledge in the way. Plus, I'm 150 feet down from them because I literally was shooting up 3 or 4 stories onto a roof. I was shooting upwards already, and then they were further back. So I didn't actually get to see the scene. There is a video out there from an independent person that was in one of these buildings that has video of the scene being shot. But my photos were just from this side, and there's Abby coming off. You see how the boom mic is over here? They were filming a little bit over here, and then the scene would go across. My arrow's picking this up. Yeah, so the scene would start at this end of the screen, like way over here, on the right. Then they would walk across down here, and all you'd see is like the top of their heads walking along, and then they would like vanish off in here somewhere. So yeah, that's all I got to see of it. There she is again. More of them. More of Abby. More of Lev. You can see the scar on her face there. You can see it just right there. You also, you can see on Abby, by the way, you can see a burn mark on her neck from apparently she gets hanged in the game or something. Yeah, so you can see that there. And that's it for that set. And that's it for photos I've shot recently. So yeah. I really hope Man of Tomorrow gives us a good Brainiac. Okay. And I'm just waiting for Man of Tomorrow to already announce Millie being in the movie. I might be disappointed if she's not in the movie. I guess we'll have to wait and see. They might not be announcing it because maybe at the end of Supergirl is like a teaser for into Man of Tomorrow, and they don't want to give away something like that yet. I don't know. We'll see. But I think we're going to wrap it up here, unless someone's got last-minute comments. I'll put in the fateful message everyone knows is coming. How did I used to word it? This is the end of the line for questions. unless you have a super chat, I am sending this now! Exclamation point. All right, so any questions that come up after that in the next minute or two have to be a super chat, but without that, we're done for today. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. This has been a while since I've done one of these this style. Like I said, the last live stream I did where I talked about things going on literally was in October. So it has been a while. But yeah, it's good to catch up with all of you. I don't know when the next one will be. I don't expect another one probably anytime soon. But maybe after Daredevil and Born Again, or Daredevil and Born Again. Oh my God, what did I do? Daredevil and the Boys are wrapped and done. Maybe. It won't be this week though, because as I said at the start of the stream, there's construction going on in my room starting tomorrow. So this setup I have won't even exist for like 3 or 4 days. I won't even be able to use my computer effectively for a while. So yeah, it's going to be a few days of that. But it was good seeing you all, and I will see you again sometime in the future. But thanks again. Bye.